Hello and welcome to the Underground Game Design course. In the next few lessons what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a model from Maya, in our case Maya 2009. We're going to construct a model, detail it and texture it in ZBrush, and then we're going to bring that back into Maya and export that to UDK and put it in a level as a static mesh. The first thing I'm going to show you in this video is how to set up Maya to be a little bit more user-friendly and a little bit easier to transfer models across to the UDK. So the first thing that you may notice is that the grid might not look the way that your grid looks. If we zoom in, you can see that it's actually looking very similar to the UDK grid, and that's because I've set it up to be a good sort of simulation of the UDK Unreal Unit grid. The way to set this up is that we go under Display and the Grid option box, and in the grid options I've set my length and width to 512 units, and you can see that that's quite expansive. It's actually 1024 units from end to end of this grid. 512 refers to the length of each line going out from the origin to the to indicate the axis on the grid. I have grid lines every 8 units. You can see that these are the major grid lines here, and I have subdivisions set to 8, which means that I have the subdivision grid lines showing up on every unit. Now under Window and Preferences, Settings and Preferences in Settings I've set the working units to centimeters. I find that this works better in terms of the distances, and it just works out easier this way. You can set it to something else if you want, but centimeter seems to work for me. Another thing that you have to set is under Cameras. I've set the near clip plane to 0.1, and I've set the far clip plane to 100,000. This stops the clipping plane from cutting off the grid and any geometry on the grid that is too far away to be seen. And you'll see if I zoom out, that's the distance that our far clip plane is at the moment. If we don't set that, that actual popping out happens a lot closer to the origin point. And it can be very distracting and very difficult to create geometry that way. You might also notice that up in the corner here I have a heads-up display. This is found under Display, Heads-up Display, Polygon Count. You can switch that on and off in this menu. And the reason that I have this is if we have an object in the scene, and I will just place an object in the scene, you'll notice that it has Vertice Counts, shows you how many edges, faces, and particularly of use to game design students is that it will actually show the number of triangles required to construct this geometry. I usually use this for when we merge vertices, because we can determine the vertice count before and after the operation to make sure that our merge vertices operation has been successful. Another few things that we can check on. Now, if you are using a university version of this program, or if you're using a version of this program that you've worked in before, chances are that you have, and I'll just go down to Window, Settings, Preferences, and Plugin Manager. Chances are you have already got this option enabled. but it is, and this is for when we export to ZBrush, is the obj export.mll, and you just make sure that that is checked for loaded and auto load. Now the probably the last thing I'll show you in this video is how to set up the plugin to export across to export your models across to the UDK. So here I have the folder for Maya. It's just under Program Files, Autodesk Maya 2009. Yours might be somewhere different. It might be under Program Files x86. And here is our UDK directory. I'm working with the March beta. Now in the UDK directory, if we go under Binaries, you'll notice that there is a folder which says ActorX. We can open that up, and I'll just go to a list view, and you can see that there are all of these plugins that you can select. Now the plugin that I'm using would be Maya 2009 X64 or 64-bit, because that's the version of Maya that I'm using. If you're using any of the older versions of Maya, including Maya 8.5, which can come in handy if perhaps you're using the PLE. I'm not sure if that works with the PLE, but you can get an exporter that works with a PLE version, but they stopped making those with Maya 8.5. You can also see that there are various Max plugins, even though Max does have an export option for the ASE file format, which is native to Max and is the file format that UDK imports static meshes in. The ActorX plugin will also enable you to export skeletal meshes and skeletal animations from Max as well, and you can see that we also have XSI plugins here. But we can just have a look in the appropriate folder, and you'll see that we have the ActorX.mll there. If we go back to the Maya 2009, we'll open up the bin folder for our binaries. If we scroll down to the folders, we'll notice that we have plugins here. And in the plugins, here is the ActorX.mll. You can just drag that across to move it to that place. I'd recommend holding down Control so that you copy it to this plugin folder. I've already done that. I'll just delete that. I've already done that, and I had an older version of the ActorX.mll, and I've just put a suffix on that of the old version, just so that I know if I want to revert to it, I can go back to that. Once you have that installed, you will perhaps have to restart your Maya, and then come under the plugin manager, and at the top of the list, well, or close to the top of the list, you'll have ActorX.mll, and just make sure that that is checked for loaded and auto load. And once you have that in there, if you have a mesh selected, I'll just make sure that it's functioning properly. Typing in the mel command, or the Maya editing language command, AX mesh, and there we go, we have the static mesh exporter, and I'll show you how to use that in a later lesson. And so that is all I think we need to know to get started with the lesson. Thank you very much.